Hello everyone, my name is Vedan Nayak and my student code is PCM23425. I am currently pursuing Masters in Construction, Engineering and Management at CEPT University and I am currently in first semester. This semester studio focuses on a construction project formulation and appraisal for which we have given different project to study. For a purpose of this presentation, I am taking you to a feasibility study of a tall residential luxurious apartment. Let us start with a project brief. Back in 2020, Gujarat's Honorable Chief Minister Mr. Vijay Rupani has taken a landmark decision to boost the infrastructure in Gujarat and given approval for the construction of a building of more than 70 floors in a 5 megacity of a state. Based on that, this is the first ever tall building of Ahmedabad city. The type of project is the Greenfield project. It lies under the category of residential high-rise apartment with a total 87 number of units and 31 floor with 1 skip floor and 3 basements. The objective of the project is to develop the tallest residential building in Ahmedabad. The total site area was 4091 square meter with a total built up area of 41,658 square meters. Total height of the building is 133 meters. The estimated project cost is 200 crore and the land cost is approximately 70 crore. To understand external and internal element which affect the project in a negative or a positive way, let us go through the context analysis with a pastel tool. Starting with the political factor, political stability can have impact on project by influencing investment levels. And with the stable government, infrastructure development policies will also remain same. With the economic factor, interest rates have an indirect impact on a sale velocity. Economic growth is directly proportional to the GSDP. And with growth in GSDP, the income of people will increase. And it eventually increase the buying capacity of people. With socio-cultural factor, keeping eye on consumers' preference is important. The area need and demand is to be checked and all the trends of a market will be followed for generating good revenue out of it. Further, with the environmental factors such as air and noise pollution will be properly managed during construction as per the GPCB guidelines. Legal factors such as all the building codes and tall building guidelines has to be followed strictly. For identifying individuals, groups or organizations that could impact the project directly or indirectly and for managing them, this exercise of stakeholder management is conducted. For that, first we categorized different category of stakeholder which are primary stakeholder, regulatory authorities, consultants, contractors, vendors and suppliers, utility services and miscellaneous. In this category, we identify different stakeholders. Based on that, we come up with total 42 number of stakeholders. To know power, interest and influence of all the stakeholders on our project and managing them, we develop matrix of power, interest and power influence. For both the matrix, we assign power, interest and influence on a scale of 1 to 10 to each of the stakeholders, and as per that We plotted them on this matrix. Going with the power interest matrix, the client and the financial institution, which are P1 and P3, are to be managed closely because the client has all the powers and the maximum interest in the project, and funds are equally important to run such a project, so their power interest will also be high. The regulatory authorities have high power but low interest in the project, so we have to keep them satisfied. Some of the consultants and AMC have high power and interest in the project but less than the client, but still we have to manage them closely. Going with the power influence matrix, the regulatory authority face sudden change in their position from keep satisfied section to manage closely in second matrix due to their high influence in the project. The project risk management is the process of planning risk management strategies by identifying and analysis of a risks and planning response to control them. The aim objective is to increase the probability of occurrence of positive events and decrease the probability of occurrence of negative events. For this, the methodology we have followed is, first of all, we plan risk management strategies, identify the risks, risk analysis by quantitative and qualitative method, plan risk response based on it is threat or an opportunity, and finally we try to control the maximum risk. For the risk classification, we divided whole project into 4 different phases like inception phase, development phase, construction phase, and operation and maintenance phase. In that phase, we assign different categories from demand to commissioning and mark all the categories alphabetically from A to Q. In all that categories, we find total 75 number of different risks. From that 75, 38 risks are identified in development phase, which are highest among them. Based on 75 risks, we identify total 62 threats and 13 opportunities. For that, we develop threat and opportunity matrix based on probability and consequences of the threat and opportunity. Going with the threat matrix, the risk D3, which is land title related risk, and Q2, which is BU certificate related risk, have a rare and moderate probability of occurrence. But if that occur, they can affect the project severely, both in terms of cost and time. Most of the demand risks have a moderate probability of occurrence and consequences as the area demand for such kind of project. Going with the severity percentage of a threat, 4% are high, 19% are medium, 41% are low, and 36% are very low. Going with opportunity matrix, the risk D4 is the change in zoning regulation. It is not very likely to happen, but is an opportunity in the case of a high-rise building, as in our case with the change in permissible FSI, we have an increase in FSI limit. A3 is consumer preference. By studying the need of an area, such segments are preferable, so it is an opportunity for us. With the severity percentage of opportunity, we identify 9% of a high, 25% medium opportunity, and 66% low opportunity. For the risk response, if it is opportunity, we try to exploit and enhance them. If it is threat, we try to avoid, transfer or mitigate it. and share and accept can be used in both the types. Highest threat response is to mitigate, and which is 23. 12 threats is to be accepted, 14 is avoided, 10 is transferred, and 4 shared between stakeholders. With the example to the threat response. Delay in sale could be one threat. We have to mitigate it by creating an appropriate marketing strategy. Threat of land title dispute can be avoided by a history check from the sub-register. Demand risk like market saturation is the one we have to accept and work as per trend. Risk of dust issue during construction can be transferred to a contractor and mitigated by sprinkling water. Going with the opportunity response, highest opportunity response is enhance, and which is 8. 1 is to shade and 4 will exploit. With the example to the opportunity response, buyers prefer such a segment in the area, so it is an opportunity and we try to enhance it by working according to their preference. Most of the risk owner identified is client, and which is 67. Major part of our studio is making the construction engineering and managing process more efficient. For this, various lean tools have been adopted, one of which is a choosing by advantage CBA. CBA is an important decision making tool used in design to decide between different alternative options. It is an evaluation criteria based on marking the benefits of the potential alternatives available. For this, we adopted two design problems. First is the selection of the formwork and second is the selection of the exterior paint finish. For this presentation, I have put selection of the formwork problem. The selection of the formwork would affect the speed of construction of the project, subsequently affecting the overall project duration, which is of utmost importance for a tall building project. Design process which we have adopted is the first strategic brief was given by the client, then the project brief will be given by a designer, contractor and facility operator. For this CBA analysis, we considered total 3 alternatives. First is the plywood formwork, second steel plate formwork, third aluminium formwork. For this, we derive must have and want to have factors. In must have factors, strength, cycle time for casting, durability, surface finishing, wastage of material, planning of a system usage, repetition cycle, availability of a material and material weight is considered, in which repetition cycle is the most important factor. For deriving importance of advantages of different alternatives, we have used all the must-have factors. For example, repetition cycle is one of the important factor. We have assigned attributes to each and every alternatives for it. As you can see, the attribute for a repetition cycle for a plywood formwork is 7, 30 for a steel plate and repetition cycle for aluminium is 150. Based on that, we have given advantages to all the alternatives. And with that, we have come up with the importance of the each and every alternatives from 0 to 100. We can clearly show that the highest IOFA among all the alternatives is of aluminium formwork, which is 750. Based on that, going further with the cost comparison, we have calculated the cost with the initial investment,
repetition cycle, and cost of repetition per cycle. With that, we can see that the initial investment for the aluminium formwork will be high, but the overall cost of the aluminium formwork is low because of its repetition cycle. The overall cost for a aluminium formwork is 1.08 crore. Based on that, we are come up with the cost versus IOFA graph, and we can clearly say that we can choose the aluminium formwork over the other two formworks. Conclusions. Conclusion for context analysis. Navigating political and economic dynamics, embracing technology, and adhering to legal standards are pivotal for the success of a tall buildings. We tried to adapt all the factors that can affect our project like economic growth, tall building norms, major technologies, and IS code in this exercise. By doing this, we got to know the major factor that can affect our project. It will eventually help us in problem analysis assignment. With the stakeholder management, we conducted a stakeholder analysis for our project and identify individuals, groups, or organizations that could impact the project directly or indirectly. Using the metrics based on their power, interest, and influence, we aim to manage stakeholders effectively. For our project, we identify 42 stakeholders and categorize them into total of 7 categories. Managing them properly would help in smooth commissioning of the project. With the risk management, we have identified a total of 16 categories, and based on that, we have identified total of 75 risks. Based on that, risk, threat, and opportunity matrix is created. And also consequences and probability of threat and opportunity have been defined. Among all, some environmental and legal risks are the major risk. In choosing by advantage, comparing possibilities by assessing them according to several quantitative criteria can assist in optimizing cost and obtaining better material or designs. By choosing formwork as a problem to complete the project on time, we end up reducing cost and fast tracking the construction process. This lean concept helps us in achieving better material, reduce cost, and speed up the construction process in our project.
With this, I complete my presentation for the Studio 1 of a construction project formulation and appraisal. I thank all my professors and all my peers for helping me to understand this studio better. Thank you.